We've just done this particular photo, so we're going to do this one, which is also on page 1. What you see here is a whole muscle. So this is a whole muscle. So one more time, we can label this as the epimysium that wraps the whole muscle. Then each one of these, this thing right here is a fascicle, and it is wrapped by perimysium. And then you have this, so maybe this is the fascicle and this is the perimysium. How's that for confusing? Okay. That fascicle is simply a bundle of individual muscle fibers, individual muscle cells, and that muscle cell is wrapped by endomysium. Why did I show you this picture again? Because I want you to write these words down. I want you to get familiar with writing these words, putting these words into your little brains, so that your little brains become big brains. All right. What we see here is an up-close picture of one muscle cell. Now, this one muscle cell is wrapped by endomysium, and that's this pink stuff here you see on the outside. Underneath that, maybe I should do that in a different color. Underneath that endomysium, you have what we call a sarcolemma. Sarcolemma is the cell membrane for muscle cells. So this muscle cell has its own cell membrane, but on the outside it's also wrapped by another connective layer called the endomysium. All right, so when we break these down, we have more bundles. And each one of these bundles is called a myofibril. Now, this myofibril is made of parts, and each part, maybe you can see these little pieces, little bitty protein fibers. These are called myofilaments. And myofilaments will either be thick or they will be thin. If they are thick, they are made of a protein called myosin. If they are thin, they are made of a protein called actin. Now, these long myosin and actin proteins are broken down into subunits called sarcomeres. And we'll look at sarcomeres in just a second. This yellow stuff here, I'll just even switch to yellow. This yellow stuff is what we call sarcoplasmic. Yes, starting over. And that yellow is horrible. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. And this sarcoplasmic reticulum is filled with calcium ions. And it basically just stores the calcium ions that play an important part in muscle contraction that we'll see in a couple of videos later. And then here, this little thing is a T tubule.